So it's your turn. I am so excited. Everyone, I absolutely fell in love with Gregg probably the first 2 or 3 minutes talking to him. And we just had so much in common, the arts and just these backgrounds that were just so similar. And it was just like finding a kindred soul, like a brother that I wish I would have had. Oh, that would have been so much fun to have somebody that was into all of that around me. And I wanted to just kind of like drop in right now into the beautiful work that you put forward. When we were working on your chapter, there were some just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous moments in the writing that I was like, oh, I understand that concept now more than I ever did before. And there were just some like ahas and just some really juicy insights that you have, and just knowing your heart and seeing you as I do, everybody's so lucky. So let's just jump in. I wanted to talk about, there's a bridge that you found between acting and singing and dancing and writing. And you used the words with me that there was a link and a bridge that you found, and that it brought up some unconscious patterns for you in the writing. And so there's 2 questions in there. The one is, let's talk about that bridge and that link between those art forms and the therapeuticness and the healingness of them. And then let's talk about that, how it brought those things up for you.
That's a great question. I think that for me, and what I'm actually by thinking about this interview, what has kind of come to me, and I hope this is clear, is that yes, you and I were both performers, actors and dancers and singers and things like that in our lives, and those were really expansive, beautiful experiences that I had on stage and connecting and influencing people in that medium. And then when I chose to pursue my master's in dance and movement therapy, somatic psychology at Naropa University, then I started to discover the therapeutic benefits and the spiritual benefits of the creative process. And what I've discovered is that it's not only helping in my work, it's not only helping people connect with their own creative gifts, which are, like people have said in this summit, are uniquely yours. Nobody has it just like you do. Finding a way to really support that expression. In that expression, it automatically takes you to a non-ordinary state of being where your thoughts and your expressions are different than they would be if you were having a conversation with somebody from your head. And then when you can allow yourself to fully express, whether it's through movement, sound, words, voice, then you are taken to a transcendent, there's a shift that happens. You're taken to this transcendent space where you're in touch with divine creation, which is probably what I felt on stage on some level, channeling through a character or, in a dance or in a play, and then having that move into the audience. That's kind of a divine or a common collective experience. But when we express our emotions and our wounds and our stuck beliefs fully, we connect with this divine creativity, which then reinforms how we create in the world. So then we're creating from a place that's bigger than us. That's bigger than just our gifts, but it comes through uniquely because we're different than everyone else. We're a unique ray of light, so to speak. All right, so that's what's come to me in the preparation of this interview, and I've never quite put it together like that before, and it kind of feels, hopefully it translates.
Yeah, that was gorgeous. Absolutely.
Oh, good. Because and writing, I knew I was always good at, I was a good student. I was a really good student. I always got A's, and I always did well on my term papers and my thesis and all that kind of stuff. But writing about myself, I was like, who wants to know about me? I mean, I just have my life. It's just my life. It's not anything special. That was the inner dialogue that I was having before I joined your venture, Dare to Dream. And it through the process, writing not only was a cathartic experience of sharing wounds that I've dealt with, that I've healed on some level, but the depth of which I healed when I was writing this, or maybe it's the integration piece of putting it in words and then seeing the connections with different periods of my life with the similar experience. Obviously, it came into a different form each time. It was very cathartic and transformational, and and it was hard. I don't want to say it was. I really had to dig deeply into my soul and my heart and my gut, I guess is the best way to say that. And to be able to be vulnerable and share that with the world, that was like a big step. And it was so nice to find the comfort and the strength and to do that. And so healing for me. I feel like I'm pretty much, well, I don't feel like I am altered from the experience. So I have a new appreciation for the power of the creative use of words on pen and paper and in books, and then how that obviously, like theater with the audience, or like vibration with the world, it touches other people, and then other people can maybe benefit from your story and how you found the resilience to keep going and to take risks and to grow in your life. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's holy work. If there is indeed holy work, it is holy work to do that in whatever form the art takes. We're talking about this experience of your writing, but I think that, the first actors and actresses were priests and priestesses in temples, and they were transmitting sacred knowledge and codes to the people. And when I heard that the first time, I was like, yeah, that I have been always wanting that, always. And I don't have the words for it. The closest I found is duende. It's a flamenco word. And it's just that moment where kind of like, almost like God speaks through the person to the audience, and everybody kind of has this transcendent sort of something. And so it thrills me to hear that you experienced some of that. And because that's what that project is all about. And that's what this is about. And your work is about. And I want to just like pull that into some of those things that came up for you, because there were, I've written down a couple of statements that being shut down, easier to expose yourself on stage than to be you, that it was safer for you to be someone else than it was to be yourself. And all of these patterns were coming up while you were writing. And I find it fascinating because I want to tie that into the trauma work that you do, and the work that you do with finding expressing the emotions and the energy that is stuck in your body. And so I want to go into a little example that I asked you to talk about, but not yet. But I just want to see if there's something that you want to speak into about all of what I just said, the shut down, the exposing, the safer to be somebody else than yourself, because those are profound things that I think many, if not all of us, have felt in our lives. And it's so courageous of you to even say that out loud, let alone be wanting to talk about that with all of these beautiful souls here.
thanks. It's all I know what to do. I got it's just it motivates me to continue to go deeper, to continue to challenge myself to be all that I can be and to be the most authentic version of myself. So I believe that the shutting down was something that we all experience. There is almost every institution, family member, teacher, coach has tried to shut us down. I loved how in Tammy Roth's presentation earlier today, she talks about the volume. I remember in my family, I've always had a lot of energy flowing through me. And when I let it flow through me, it feels very exciting. You know, it's kind of that Fritz Perls quote, you know, fear is excitement without breath. But when I shut it down, it becomes anxious energy. And so I used to always, and I still do, when I'm excited, do this. So happiness was always really supported in my family. You know, you weren't supposed to be sad, but being really excited was not. So that real true expression of who I am, completely non-feathered, completely, you know, loud, and I don't mean obnoxious, I just mean full, you know, fully who I am at full volume and not turning down to be accepted. That's what this book really helped me take that to the next level. Doing these summits has done that for me as well. I was definitely very nervous before yesterday, and once I got into the flow, it's been a beautiful experience. It's been beyond my wildest dreams, just the people and their sharing and such like that. But back to myself, being shut down, wanting to be somebody else. I mean, we all develop these masks of, you know, who we need to be in order to, as children, definitely we develop them to get love, to get acceptance, to get strength, to get all the qualities that we feel like we don't have. And so the process of work that I do, and I think it's I'm going to keep going back and forth between the group of presenters and myself, because they all represent part of me. I really picked people that express practices that I have found on my journey that have helped me. The first one is meditation. So the first thing we have to do is we have to stop and we have to slow down. And Elena Brower yesterday did an amazing job at bringing us all into this place of rest and silence. And so when we can drop into our bodies, which many of us have a very hard time doing, myself included at times, because they were uncomfortable places to be, and there's trauma in them. There's, you know, traumatic experiences get lodged in the body. They don't stay in the head like some people think. They're in our cells. They're in our organs, you know, and they're in every part of our human body. So we need to stop, we need to slow down, we need to begin to develop a relationship with that body that we've discounted or put aside. By developing that relationship, we begin to, you know, become aware of what's going on. Oh, I've got a tingling in my stomach. You know, I asked my mother how she's doing, and she's like, I don't know. What do you think I'm doing? You know, a lot of people do not know what's going on inside of their body, and that's so key. And once we then develop questions like, well, so what are you about? What do you need from me? How can we create safety for that wounded child to become then that inner child that can creatively express and release all those wounds, those shut down feelings, those blocks that we have in our body. So that's the beginning part. You want to, did that answer?
Well, that's gorgeous. Absolutely. And it kind of ties into what I wanted to talk about next, which is you had spoken in the book about, and I loved this. It was one of those sections that I was like, oh my gosh, yes. But you talked about unexpressed emotions, and then in your body, and then you talked about a cat And I don't want to say any more about that. You know what I'm talking about. I would love to just have you share that. Oh my gosh, look at that, baby.
You know, she arrived just before this interview. She's been asleep all day. So I guess
Oh, she's here for it.
she wanted to support me. So this is Greta, everybody, in case you haven't heard that already. Yes, so the example that I use, and then I'll explain how I and other movement therapists use it, is that, you know, if you've ever stopped an animal, especially a cat, from doing something they were going to do, like if they were going to move over here and you grab them and put them back, or if they're going to start to stretch and you kind of stop that. And people do weird things to their animals, but they have to go back and finish that movement sequence. They will just do it. They have to. And it's such a great teacher for us, because when we have a traumatic experience, when it gets lodged inside of our body, we have to find a way to unwind it and let it do what it wanted to do. It's almost like when you're in a car accident and the seatbelt holds you back. Your body didn't get to go through that complete motion to reset itself. Even though that complete motion may have been harmful for you in a car, your body still needed to do that, to reset itself, to fully express itself, to bring itself back into balance. So I guess that's what I was saying with the example about about the cat, about Greta especially, is that it's so beautiful. She teaches me so much and reminds me so much about how I need to fully express through my fingertips and toes my feelings and my stuck emotions, so that they flow through me, so they don't get stuck.
Exactly. And how often do we stop ourselves? Not just somebody else stopped us, but you know, that shutting down. That's why I was like brought up that shutdown that you talked about, because we do it to ourselves. We've learned it and now we do it and we're not even conscious that we're doing it. And to fully express that out, I was like, this man is brilliant. This is brilliant.
Well, and what's been beautiful about some of the other presenters like Masami yesterday, talking about the fascia and like moving through water, and that because we're mostly water, but we don't look like it to each other, right? We look like these solid beings, but inside there's all this spaciousness, which we also experience in some of the meditations. And then to be able to fully express, then those stuck emotions have space to move. They have space to move out. They're not contracted in. So you create flow, you create, full expression, moves that through. It dissipates it first and then moves it through. And the breath is really the catalyst. The breath amplifies those sensations so that they can move fully through. And then, of course, once you're able to do that, and it takes courage, some feelings you just don't want to feel. I understand that. I need support. We all need support. I have a therapist and coach. We all need support to keep going. That courage to allow yourself to surrender to that release where you don't know where it's going to take you is key. It's just the key to moving into transcendence. So I'd like to be the bridge today from that creative process into tomorrow's session with transcending trauma, to be in that transcended space where then we are more readily connected with the divine flow.
Absolutely. And I would love to have you walk us through an experience right now to do that. But before we do that, there's some really interesting things happening in the chat. So you might want to just like read some of those out.
I'm kind of in a flow here.
I know.
EMDR. Okay. This is really
It is really eye-opening, Jen. It's beautiful. And it does take a lot of courage and humor. And it's so interesting with the Lori and the coping mechanism. And yeah, I just love these. And that vibrational current, Geraldine, that channeling the divine. Yeah. That when we're, performing and whatnot, and even just in life, right? When you're stopping to open the door for somebody that has their bags full of grocery, even that is a channeling in there through. So they're such beautiful moments.
That's beautiful, Paula.
Yeah. So take us, if you will, please, through.
Sure. I'll take you in we'll just, this will just be a little bit, but we'll take you through a nice little exercise. So you can close your eyes, or if you don't feel comfortable with that, just take a really, soft gaze in front of you. And, the one thing that you definitely want to focus on in conscious embodiment is breathing in your belly. All right. So when we breathe into our chest, we're going to reconnect with our fight or flight response. We're going to do this. And so we want to drop our breath into our belly really gently. So as you breathe in and out of your nose, you're just going to gently expand your belly as you inhale. Let's do maybe 4 counts in, and exhale, and just let that belly gently relax and go back into your spine. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, expanding your belly, and exhale, just allowing the belly to softly contract back into the spine. Just do that a couple more times. And this is helping us drop in, like Jackie said before, drop into our body. Now we're just going to do a quick body scan of your body, starting at your crown, and just notice what's occurring in your crown. Don't try to change anything. Just notice what's there. Is there any tension in your skull, your forehead, the back of your head? Taking a nice deep breath in and out of your belly, and bringing your awareness to your eyebrows and eyes and ears. And just bringing your awareness down into your jaw, and your nose, your mouth, chin, your whole face. Taking a nice deep breath in. And notice if there's any tension in your throat or your neck. Notice what the sensations are in your throat and your neck as you bring your awareness down into your shoulders. Notice what's going on in your shoulders. Any tension, sensation. Taking a nice deep breath in and out of your belly, and just allowing your awareness to drop down your arms, your elbows, to your wrist and your hands and your fingers. Taking a nice breath in and out of your belly. And bringing your awareness back up into your chest and your upper back. And bringing your awareness down into your belly, all of your internal organs and your mid-back, the lower back. What's going on there? What are you experiencing? Tension, sensation? Nice deep breath in and exhale, and just bringing your awareness down into your pelvis and hip region, your sits bones, feeling them firmly in your chair. Notice what's going on. What are you experiencing there? And then allow your awareness to drop into your hips and your upper legs, down into your knees, taking a nice deep breath in your belly and out. And dropping that awareness down your legs into your ankles, heels, feet, and toes. Notice if there's any tension. sensation. Let's take a couple of nice deep breaths in and out of our belly. And as you do that, just become aware of your whole body and just become drawn to one area of your body that's calling you, that has a sensation that is either painful or just drawing your attention. Maybe it's a tingling. And we're going to breathe into that sensation. And as we exhale, we're going to move that sensation out with our breath and with our arms and fingertips and toes. So take a nice deep breath into that sensation. Exhale and just move your fingertips and toes that represent that expression however you want. And we're going to move and breathe until we feel a shift in our body. So let's do this a few more times. Breathe into that sensation and just move all the way through your fingertips with your exhale completely and your toes. Just noticing how that's changing the energy of your body as you do that. Breathe in one more time and just shift and release. Exhale through your fingertips and toes. And just pause for a moment and just notice how that feels. And we're going to bring our awareness back to our sacrum, our root chakra maybe, down into the chair and create a ball of light. Just imagine a ball of light. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pull that ball of light up through our spine and our body up to the crown of our head. And we're going to hold our breath for a few seconds. And then we're going to completely relax. And we'll do that about 4 or 5 times, okay? So if you found that ball down in your root, take a nice deep breath in, and like sucking up a straw, bring that ball up to the top of your head, to your crown, hold your breath, exhale and completely relax. And sucking that ball up your spine, through your belly, your chest, your head, up into your crown. Hold your breath. And exhale and completely relax. And bring that ball up one more time. Up through your body, through the crown of your head. Hold your breath. And exhale. And just notice what you're experiencing. And from this space, I just want you to ask yourself a question. What is a creative action that I can take from this space? What is the space informing me to take action? No filters. Just creative space. And when you're ready, just gently drop your head and feel your fingertips and toes, and gently open your eyes and come back into the room. And you can maybe share in the chat what came up for you. You're welcome. To breathe. That's a good thing to do. From this space, I think what other people were talking about throughout this summit is from that space of quiet, we hear our inner guidance, and then we can act from a place of creativity that's not influenced by the people that try to shut us down, by the things that try to shut us down in our life, but then that internal strength and guidance informs us of what to do that's in line with our most authentic true self. To come home and expand, Marsha. Pain in your lower back, do yoga. Yeah, these things, these things are all really positive things for you to do in your life, right? They're supportive of who you truly are, and they will support you to continue to be able to come back to this space that is relaxed instead of anxious, that space that is full of strength instead of anger, and that place that's full of love instead of fear. I love the physical response. I have never thought about that correction. Well, you're welcome. So this was just a quick exercise of transcendence. So if you felt like I felt when I took that ball of light up into my crown and allowed to stay in that, even for just a few seconds, how that shifted my energy from, I was already in a good space being with Paula here, but yeah, it just continues to create lightness and space and flow in our lives. So,
and then the possibilities from that space, and that's something that I think would be really interesting to find out from
infinite, right?
there, is what that brings up from there, right? That Gregg just led you into this really divine expansion. What can you do from there? What can you create now? And how will it be different?
Yeah. Well, my intention is to support everybody that I meet in doing that. So.
Yeah. Beautiful. Is there anything that, Gregg, that you feel like needs to be brought into this space? I feel like there's this kind of a peacefulness too. Just the energy is like we just anchored into something really beautiful here. And I'm just wondering if there's something new that's coming in that you want to, or old, that you want to bring into this that we hadn't thought about before. About your work with what you have to offer.
I just know that the process, well, I'm going to go back, I think, to what I said earlier, is that the process for me is that we go through our personal wounds, we release them, and then we connect with something much larger than that. And then we have the courage to be lived by that instead of our past stories and a child. So it's like Adam said earlier, it's being danced, it's being lived, it's surrendering so much and trusting in spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, so much that you allow yourself to be lived by that energy. And instead of losing yourself, you find who you truly are. You find that part of yourself that's relaxed, that's compassionate, that's joyful, that's strong. All of these qualities, you find that side of yourself in that space, because I hate to use this again, you're not being shut down by the world and by your mind and by your fears.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a really beautiful way of bringing people back into not only the truth of who they are, but the embodiment of who they really are and who they came to be here on this planet. And that's a great gift.
No, thank you so much. It's, I think all of us who've shared here today, um, I wanted to go out of my body. I wanted to be someone else when I was young. It didn't feel safe. So the process of reclaiming that and being embodied is just the most beautiful spiritual path I think that we can make. And it's so real. It's what is. I think that's what Elena did in the meditation last night, was just, this is what is. And in that isness, so to speak, is all of this spaciousness that holds all of us. So anyway.
That sounds like a beautiful place to wrap this up, unless there's something else that you want.
No, I think that's pretty good. So I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule and all that you're doing in your life to be here today. You're such a special presence, and working with you was just such a supportive and creative and experience. It was just I will never be the same. So
That makes my heart so happy. Thank you.
all good. All good. Well, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. I'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
All right.